Hi guys, welcome back to the Gatekeeper stream again. It's our fourth stream for now. Hopefully, we'll actually get somewhere today. Hopefully to the next phase or something. Because right now it's all high poly, nothing really game related. Let me quickly set everything up. All right. How's the audio? I think it's fine. Okay. So, what we did last week is we mainly cleaned the guy, add some scars around his body. I think yeah, that's about it. Changed his proportions a little bit, changed his face, something huge. Okay, so let's get started. Last week, we did all these scar tissue details on the Dynamesh, not on the actual final high poly, because this guy is only like a gateway to the final high poly. It's kind of like the design process now. We're gonna have the design in on screen now, so I don't have to design it all on the spot when we're moving on to the topology and the eventual texturing. So yeah, now yeah, now we have this guy, and I think I can actually start with the retopology right away. Although I do have to fix his armpits because we can't have that part merging with that part. And the way I'm gonna do that is pick the, you know, he doesn't have eyes. No eyes for this guy. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm just gonna mask whatever flipping through. Like this. Invert that mask. And then just move it to this inside. Like that. And now it doesn't really matter how ugly it is over there. It only has to give me a room to get some polys in there, because I'm eventually going to need to redo his armpits anyway. Probably have to do the same here. Or yeah, again, just mask what's wrong. Get the pivot over there. Scale it downwards and then move it further inside his armpit. So now we have this passage kind of to get our topology in there. We'll go ahead and create a low poly model of that now and bake normals. Probably at the end of today's session we'll have baked normals and the low poly. But before we do that, I need to fix his ribcage, because the last time I only merged his ribcage to his with this mesh. It was it were multiple separate pieces before, and now they're just one piece. So I have to kind of like do some fixings around it. Mainly just making sure everything is flowing nicely. If you made the model in a T-pose, would you not have to worry about the armpits? Well, yeah, that's true. If this base that we started off had his arms a bit raised higher, it would be a lot easier, but it didn't have that. And maybe in hindsight, it would be easier if I personally raised the shoulders up, and then on the eventual low poly just lower them down a bit, because the normal detail would be baked into it anyway. So changing it then after it has all the bakes wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, in hindsight, everything is perfect. But yeah, this is a quick fix for now. And if this guy is finally retopologized, I could select this part and just move his arms upwards. But because this polygon amount is too high, I can't just max that out. But if I move it, it gets fucked up like that. Alright, so wait, I'm actually gonna change the material. I've been sculpting in these kind of materials for the last 4 weeks. Let's try something else. Alright, not happy with this one. So let's just go mudbox. This one. This one is fine. Oh shit, now that I think of it, we still have to do all the stitchings, but that's after. That's like the last part of our high poly. Looking at this guy right now, I can see some improvements. The armpits are one thing. He's lacks stitches. Again, just a higher resolution would be nice, because if I zoom in now, I can still count the polygons, which is something I wouldn't like on my latest, on the final stage of my high poly. So yeah, I think this guy is in a good spot to get to retopologize. And retopologizing something this hard can be a bitch. It could take longer than expected, since I don't like to rush any stage of process when there's something that I'm really interested in. In this case, it's kind of this guy. I want to get this guy as good as possible, create that wow effect. I don't know. Like for now, I have like 9 to 12 hours into this high poly, and I don't want to make the low poly shitty and make the 12 hours I spent on this guy go to waste. Kind of my thought process behind this. First, let's break these bones a bit. Seems a bit odd that the legs are symmetrical with the cracks and stitches. Yeah, that's a must, because his legs are going to be symmetrical, while his top part of his body isn't, because there is a certain amount of texture space that we can use on this guy, and adding, like, if I were to split this guy in two, I would have double the texture space, because the texture is going to be duplicated on the other side, and that's kind of like the idea that's going around by his legs. His legs will have double resolution because one side will use the other. It's a very 3D stuff. I'm not expecting you to understand it. But yeah, here, right here, is something that we're gonna cut, and probably here at his neck is where we're gonna cut his head off, so we can have that having a higher resolution or something. But mostly faces have a higher resolution because that's where the eyes and face are, and people really connect with faces. But since this guy has a sewn face, I'm not sure how well people are going to connect with his face, so his face will probably have the same amount of texture resolution as the rest of his body. Okay, I think we can retopologize now. Let's just make sure that I mean that. Double check everything. Right. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make this guy a polymesh, so it spawns a new subtool over here. And now with this subtool, I'm going to group mask, so it's all in one subgroup again. Go to Z plugin, decimation master, pre-process our current mesh. It'll analyze the mesh, do all tons of math stuff that's going to calculate how we can optimize this mesh while retaining the most amount of detail. So now it has done that. I can now set like the percentage. For instance, if this guy is now a 100,000 polygons, and if I set this at 50 and I decimate this, now this guy will be at 50,000 polygons because it's half of 100,000. But this is actually too high for me, so I'm gonna go about at a 10%, like this. This is even too high for me, maybe like 5. We could get lower. I mean, the lower we get, the more performance we'll get in our retopology program. Alright. If I put this guy at 1%, it'll probably destroy him. No. That's I think the resolution we have now is pretty good. Gatekeeper reference, let's go. Oh yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube and you have some direct questions, please join Twitch. It's in the link. I answer most questions on Twitch because YouTube kind of gets spammy. So for my retopology, I use Topology. It's a program that I've seen a lot of industry professionals using. So it also works very nicely. So yeah, it's kind of like my go-to program for retopologizing. Come on, load reference. So yeah, now we have this guy over here. And I'm gonna start with his legs because his legs are symmetric. I can... That isn't centered. That's weird. But he is centered. Right. We can just imagine that it's symmetric because I have a lot of other 3D programs that I can use to eventually get symmetry going on this guy. So what retopology basically is we had this really high poly count object that we couldn't use in game, and what retopology does, it makes sure this guy gets a lower poly count by drawing topology on top of our decimated mesh. And the reason we decimate is because if I were to use this inside of Topogon, the performance wouldn't be as good as it is now. Alright, so yeah. Actually, this program has a very neat feature that we can utilize over here. I think it was this one. Perfect. And now we can save a shit ton of time by doing that. I should actually do that in orthographic because things over here will give me different results from things over here because it's camera based. Or it doesn't. Okay. Well, let's just start at the knee. This is what I would say the most boring part of 3D is for viewers, because well, it's basically me drawing on a guy. Isn't really interesting. And also I also have to do this thing, repeat this thing, because I may want some higher poly counts. Yeah, and sometimes it kind of gives these artifacts for one. Oh, right, because, well, alright, I learned something new. If I do this, and then I go there, and if I need to apologize now, it places the one, the last I used, all the way over here. So you have to make sure that you go one line. This. Now we have some topology. Now this just saved us a bunch of time. And if I relax this, I can get a better overall result. And what relaxing basically does, it evens out the spaces we have between the polygons to minimize stretching when animating, and just making sure all the deformations go smooth as possible. And now we have to draw the feet. Maybe I can get away with doing this one more time, or no? Just yeah, it sometimes bugs out like this. I don't know why. And now you have the dilemma: do I keep trying to fix this, or do I just keep on drawing? And I think I'll just keep on drawing like that. And because of the relax tool, I don't have to make sure like that all the polygons are perfectly placed, because it'll do that for me eventually. Like for instance, if I were to move these guys in super ugly manners, and I can easily fix this with the relax brush and just relax it. And it'll just place everything at the perfect spot it needs to be. Sometimes, but of course, not. Sometimes you want to control where the vertexes are going, but because it's on the leg, I don't really need to control where these things are going. Right. Foot topology. Well, let's really look for some foot topology. And here we have a bunch of images showing foot topology. There's one is nice. One may do. One is fugly. Help. I'm not gonna copy everything, but it'll be a good place to start. I can always look at it if I'm lost. So now I have this on my reference. Yeah, this guy had toes, but I realized I could save some time if I sewn his toes, and it'll make his look more uniform since everything is busted up. It would be weird if his toes weren't busted up, since it's the things that he's walking on. Right. So get this guy all the way down here. Okay, so this guy will wait for the next, for the guys that are going to meet from the left and right. So this is kind of like the leader now. Everyone has to follow this topology line. And because of that, we can have the rest of his guys follow him like this. actually gonna skip a bunch of songs because I've heard these like 1,000 times, because it's the, oh shit, it's the beginning of the stream, and those numbers always pop up. So yeah, we are creating nice topology around his feet. Kind of want thing to go like that. And I'm like, this is something that's like a problem, because I want to make sure that these are going like this, but I don't want any part to be super squashed. Like, I don't want that kind of topology. That's just ugly. Now let's replicate that on the sides, simply like this. That, move these, and now I get the relax brush again, relax these parts. Just like that. And because these are his feet, it doesn't have to be perfect, because I mean, how often are you going to see the lower is like his soles of his feet? So now again, we're still following this line, we're still following that line. Follow this guy from the sides. This whole streaming business turned into kind of like a tutorial. Instead of making the Gatekeeper, it's more like making a new character for games, because everything I'm telling here you can apply to all other things that you're doing with characters. And yeah, so what I'm doing here is doing this special thing, whereas instead of putting these 3 lines and doing that, I'm actually gonna do this, because this will generate a quad. A quad, by the way, is 1 polygon, and a polygon is like this square, but a polygon is just is a face with vertices, and a quad is a polygon with 4 vertices, and it's kind of like the optimal one you need for characters to help with animation. So does this guy have a backstory? Yes. This guy had a traumatic childhood, so he went to party with a bunch of necromancers, and the necromancers drugged him while he was partying too hard, and they like made sure that he was unconscious, and then when he was at their place, they gave him all these kind of like bad drugs and magic spells on him, so he finally looks like this. And the reason he's guarding the gates to whatever place is because it actually leads to the bar where he was kind of raped. So he's kind of like protecting other people from going inside, but all these players just keep killing him without actually asking him, why are you defending this gate? It's like his backstory in Skyblivion. I could have told a better story, but I had to think of one on the spot. Maybe you guys have some good background stories for him. I mean, it's an RPG at the end. He's the last of his kind. He's the last gatekeeper, and some asshole player wants to steal his keys. I mean, it's all perspective, right? I mean, maybe he got fired from his job, so he like stands in front of his house with his keys, and his house is like are those portals, and then you come barging along because some maniac told you he has the keys, so you kill this guy without asking a question. I mean, like, come on, man. Let's think for 1 second before we actually do stuff. I am retopologizing this model. What you saw me doing before was making the high poly, and now, like, I'm not sure if a lot of people do this anymore, but the thing was you made the low poly first and then you sculpted onto the low poly to make the high poly. But now, I mean, this is at least how I do it. I sculpt the high poly and then I retopologize the high poly so I get the low poly. And the low poly is what you need for to be in game. I'm not sure though, because feet are like, I wanna this let's relax this because I'm not, I think I did something wrong. Because this thing, like the piece that I'm doing now, is just underneath his toes. I'm gonna do myself a favor and add some triangles here. Like that. And then I'm gonna relax this boy again. Like that. But now we have this whole thing. Let's excuse me, forgot to mute my microphone there for that cough. But yeah, I wanna like get this thing as good as possible. And now, the fuck is that? I don't want you there. So yeah, this process is probably the most tedious of all the processes because it's just so much click work. I could like automatically do this in ZBrush, but it'll be just super lazy and ugly and shit. So this is something that you have to do by hand if you want to get the optimal result. Oh, my fucking internet gave out for a second. I thought my fucking shitty ass internet provider cut my internet again, because those fuckers, man. If it's something that I hate, it's just irregular internet. Holy shit. I could go on a rant about those guys. Damn, boy. Fucking hate those fucking shit. But yeah, sorry guys, my internet gave out. It's like last month I had no internet for something like a week or something. And when we called the guys, because we have television, phone, and television, phone, and what do you call it, internet. So we called them and we said like, hey, what the fuck, man, we don't have internet for a whole week. But this was when we finally had internet, and they kind of like sent us a mail like, we have a nationwide internet outage, so you don't have to worry about anything, you'll get compensated or whatever. So when we finally called, we said like, okay, how are we gonna get compensated? And this bitch on a phone said, I'm not sure about what you're talking about, let me just check in the system, I'll call you in like 15 minutes. And so when she called me back in 15 minutes, she asked me, well, why didn't you call when the internet went out? I said like, what the fuck, bitch? If I have phone in my package and when the internet goes away and I don't have phone anymore, how the fuck am I supposed to call? And she was like, oh, you can find another phone, can you? And I said, what the fuck? If I had another phone, why would I have phone in my package? Why would I pay extra for something that I don't need? And he was like, So I hang up and called another guy who works there, and he said like, oh yeah, we're sorry, we know we got that email. We'll make sure that you get compensated fairly. And so after like speaking for 15 minutes with this one dude, we got our compensation. Yeah, insane. Right, so now we have the foot. Actually, kind of like talking about other stuff more than talking about work, because I fucking do this all day. When I get on stream, I just want to talk about random bullshit with some random people. If you guys have like topics like, hey Hakan, what do you think about this? I'll gladly tell you guys what I think. And of course, I'll still answer questions if you guys have some important questions. What's your opinion on butts? Well, my opinion is like, the younger you are, the more of a tit man you are, because you remember your mother's tits more. But the older you get, the more of an ass man you get, because you kind of know what you can do with a great ass, and you kind of forget what you can do with boobs. Of course, you know, but the ass is more powerful. Have you played Amnesia, Dark Descent, or many horror games? Amnesia, Dark Descent. No, I haven't played that. Well, yeah, I played that game. I used to like get into these crazy rock paper scissors games with my friends, and the loser had to play Amnesia at night with headphones on max sound, and we just play random maps. And this one time it was my turn, and there was a room full of chairs. I'm sure like my friends that are listening to this will remember that what happened there. There was like a room of chairs, and I knew like this game is based on triggering events. So if you pass a certain point, something will happen. So if you just wait, nothing will happen. So I was in this huge room with all these chairs, and because I was so anxious that something was gonna happen, I just rammed all these chairs into the walls, because you could glitch chairs into walls. So after I like jammed all the chairs into the walls, and if you step back at that moment, you saw this whole room just jiggling, because it had like 30 chairs in the walls, which was nice. Yeah, it's a fun game. I like games where I can exploit the game and not have to follow a certain route all the time. I also think that if you make your game moddable, then it just adds so much to the game's longevity. Like it's kind of ignorant to think that you can make the ultimate game and no one can ever change that, unless there's a specific design reason behind it. Then I can understand it. Hakan, what is your favorite Turkish food? Damn boy, that's a serious question, man. I'm not sure how well acquainted people here are with Turkish foods, but I'm gonna try anyway. I'm gonna explain what the food's like, how it's made and stuff. Well, for those that didn't know, I'm Turkish. I'm not sure how to say this. I have a Turkish descent. I have a Turkish heritage. Probably heritage, yeah. My parents are Turkish, which means that I eat Turkish all the time at home. So my favorite food. Oh boy. Like if you want to go to restaurants and eat some great foods, I recommend Iskender. It's like huge laps of meat in butter with more meat and yogurt and tomato sauce, which is like heavenly food. I also like. So, are you American or are you European? I'm not American. I'm definitely not American. I am. Well, I'd say I'm European because I was born in Europe. But I'm definitely not American. I would relate myself more to European than American, even more than Turkish, I'd say, because you can have Turkish parents all you want, but if you're born and raised in Holland, then you're kind of like the same way towards Dutch people than towards Turkish people, because the thing, like, I think it's only natural to feel at home when you're with Turkish people when you are a Turk yourself, because of the one thing, like the language, the culture, you can relate to things. Well, with Dutch people, you only have the language and the history behind in the country, because all the schools here are kind of the same, so you can have that going when talking to Dutch people, and with talking to Turks, you kind of have the whole culture and heritage and language thing going. Yeah, I don't know if I were to. I would seriously not know what to call myself. I think a Turk than a Dutch guy, just because. Yeah, probably. I don't know. But yeah, Turkish foods, mantı, Iskender, and baklava, probably. Do you speak fluent? Yes, I do speak fluent Turkish. You have a Dutch accent, so you're Dutch. Do you have any opinion regarding what's been happening in Turkey with the government? Of course I have an opinion, but I'm not sure like it's what on what matter specifically, because there's a lot of things going on. I don't want to turn this whole stream into a political debate or something. I might trigger some people with my opinions. Yeah, politics is dangerous. So now I kind of like go to the part here where it isn't symmetry anymore. So I probably have to connect this over here, like this, and then just relax this part. Is there a big difference in making mostly squares instead of triangles? Yes. In animation, it's, well, if it's a static object like a piece of furniture or something, then you can go triangles all you want. But if you want to do characters, then like what do you call it? Quads are is the thing to go. Is the like the best thing to go. I'm not sure if that's correct English. Quads are the way to go, because it helps with the deformations, and deformations being like raising a leg in game, and of course animation is just a combination of quads moving and stuff. So what I'm doing now is I place this line to follow the curvature of his ass, because it'll be more apparent in game. So I kind of like I'm kind of like doing surgery by deleting these polygons. I kind of like made sure that it's all clean, and now I'm gonna go in carefully, place all these polygons while trying to keep it all in a quad form. So yeah, guys, if you're a game artist, you can be anything that you want. You can be a historian, you can be a teacher, you can be a doctor, everything. That's actually something that it's really cool about working in this industry. If you working on a historic title, well, then you kind of have to know your shit about history, what people wore and other stuff. And if you want to get into anatomy, you kind of have to know your anatomy. So you have a lot of different varying things. Which is actually the reason why I can keep doing this for so long. If I'm bored with scary creepy monsters, I'll just make not scary creepy monsters. Right, so now because I don't really have anything, like I want these lines to disappear somewhere, but because I can't, I'm actually just reading the chat sometimes, so when I'm silent I'm probably reading the chat. Again, guys, if you're watching from YouTube, join the Twitch, because I don't read YouTube stream because it's so super wild in there. So the reason I'm positioning these outer like border vertices are because I'm gonna connect these. Is this? Yes. So, and now because my relax tool doesn't affect borders, it'll these nice changes like that. Good. This is kind of like how you get to how you do all these quads. Just puzzle work. Speaking of quads, I think like it's better for his ass if I were to add. Oh shit. If I were to add. Why is that doing? If I were to do this. And actually connecting it like that. I think this is a reasonable position for a triangle. I'm not sure. But if it doesn't work in the animation, I can always fix it. So now we have this symmetric part retopologized. I can now export this. Wait. Oh, never mind. Which part of the entire mod production do you think takes the most time? Character design, like what you're doing right now, or trees, or like I think making these characters takes a lot of time because it's a really consuming process, and it can all go wrong. Also, because it's so difficult. For instance, if I have to do 50 creatures and I do 20 of them, and I leave after doing 20, well, then someone else has to come in and he has to like work exactly at my level for the other 30, or else the difference in skill will be very apparent, even if he's better than me or if he's not so proficient as I am. So matching what you're making with what's already there can be quite challenging. I know that from experience. Yeah, it's probably like the biggest challenge when for a producer that's working on a free mod where no one gets paid. People can just leave and you can't do anything about it. On 3ds Max, my people are waiting. Are you even starting, man? Come on. Okay, so now this is 3ds Max. I used this for 3.5 years. I switched to Maya like a few months ago, just because I wanted to learn another 3D program. And doing everything in 3ds Max kind of got very boring, and I wanted to see how other 3D programs handle it. So yeah, we have this leg. We retopologize this, and the reason it's in Max now is so I can symmetry it. Okay. I can symmetry it right now, but as you can see, it uses like this part of the model. But I want this guy to use like one of these vertices, because that's the way to go. Because this is kind of like the half of the model and not this part, so I have to move the pivot point to there. For some reason I can't vertex snap. Oh shit, no. The grid, this guy to snap on vertices, but it doesn't. Yeah, we have to find another way for this, like a line. Well, this is actually one of the reasons why I left Max. Things like this can happen. So try Maya. Also, in Max, if I wanted to import stuff, I don't have what Maya has, like this beautiful, like, ooh, I can just press on Skyblivion, I just saved like fucking 10 seconds, which is awesome. So this is a Maya. In Maya, I can press D, press V, and I can put it there. Easy peasy. And now that I'm in Maya, then let's adjust the vertex. Control D and invert this guy. So now we have two sides of his legs. Merge them. Bam! And as you can see, we see this beautiful ass. This beautiful ass. I think I'm actually gonna make his ass look better. Here. Get that crack going. Add a segment in the middle. Click to vertex again. Target, oh shit, no. Target world where we just did do that. Yes. Alright, so now we can export this guy again and continue with that, with this. Continue with this in Topology again. So the awesome part of this is I can just do a hiccup, clear the scene, load scene. It doesn't work if you do a hiccup. It'll give a error. So after you did the hiccup, you import this guy back again. And now we got them both with the ass crack. Now with the ass crack, let's relax that shit. Nice. Perfect, beautiful. I mean, who can't appreciate a good ass? I actually have to fix his crotch over here, because I don't like the way, I don't like what it's doing over there. Hakan, you wanna give me a butt massage later? Sorry man, I don't do butt massages. I only do genitalia. Although I have to say that I give great massages. I have some friends at school who sometimes walk up to me and say, "Hey man, I'm having a bad day. Could you give me a massage?" They mostly don't get a massage. And just like that, we fixed his crotch. At least the place where his crotch is. Again, there's some big concentration of vertices there, like they're having a party or something. I don't like that. Get them apart. If you want to make this whole boring process more interesting, you kind of have to play with your imagination a little bit. I actually fucked up his leg now that I see it. I mean, this topology could be better. Like, I'd rather have a line going like that. There's a draw tool. Like, I want a line going like that, because now everything is just like that. I don't like that shit. Like, the best thing is like this going up, and then this going like this going like this, like, yeah, like that. And then so you have a lot of room to actually deform the character. Like this. It's actually the way you want to go. But oh well. I think I'll just leave it for now, because there is enough polygons here to support the kind of movements. Alright, so now we get to the hard part. Because his back is like super prominent, I think I'm just gonna make the leading line like this. Just follow the crevice on his back. Ends over there. So now everything around this has to follow that thing. What is topology? Topology is like what you're seeing over here, like all these points and squares and lines. That's topology. That's what you eventually see in game, without getting too technical. And the trick is that you wanted to keep it all in quads. Like every polygon has 4 points, because it has to be 4 or 3. Otherwise, it's an n-gon, and n-gons are bad. Well, every game engine, not sure if every game engine does this, probably like all of the orthodox ones, they convert every polygon, even quads, into triangles eventually. And I think some keep quads, but yeah, they show you the quads, but it's all triangles at the end anyway when 2 vertices are moving. So if you have an n-gon, and what an n-gon is a polygon with more than 4 points, then the engine kind of like the engine makes his own triangles. And the reason you want to make the triangles is because you know where there should be triangles and where there shouldn't be triangles, because of how you want the topology to flow with the eventual animation. If the engine knew perfectly every time where I wanted to have triangles and where I wanted to have triangles and quads, then sure, go ahead, make n-gons. But unfortunately, the game engine doesn't know where I want my stuff. So because of that, I have to place everything manually. But of course, there is no way it can ever know. So this is something that you have to do by hand. So right now we have like these lines going, but this amount of density is enough for this part, so I need to do something about that one line. But this one line, I'm guessing I could make it go up here like that, although we're low on edges over there. This should be a problem. I'm more concerned with this. Let's try to fix that. And all the puzzling now that I'm doing is to eventually get it all as smooth as possible in quads. Two triangles is more information than one square, and two triangles and one triangle is more information than one vertex. Vertex is all that matters, not triangles. Vertices, I mean, because the game engine eventually calculates vertices and not flat surfaces point-wise, although shaders can dramatically influence what gets shown on a face. So if we only talking topology, then vertices is kind of like what matters for a game engine performance-wise. But yeah, it's I don't want to get too technical. Crit fail, I'm doing topology now, retopology to be exact. And this is a process where I'm redrawing a lot of things to make it actually viable to get in game, because you can't get a high poly in game, it'll just lag the shit out of your game. So what's going to happen with all details you ZBrush? Is that going to stay intact or get lost? That's going to get baked onto the low poly. When the bakes are in, that's like when you have the bakes, then that's like a lot of the stuff done. I'm going to save because this program has a tendency to crash. Deeper topo. No, not load. Save. Alright, so that's saved. Now getting in there and doing the retopology is going to be a bitch, because I don't like crawling inside of a very small hole to fix a leak or something in your house. There's no room to move. Oh yeah, the other streams that I'm doing, like the ones before this week, they should shortly be on YouTube. I'll make sure of it. For those that didn't catch my other streams, they can always rewatch it. And please comment about what you think of it. Think about it, because I always go back to read the comments and see for potential feedback that I'm missing, like something that someone points out, like, hey man, his right nipple is off or something. Then I'll just read that and see if he's right. No, you can't hide, unfortunately. Or maybe you can. I haven't explored it that much. I'm not sure. I don't think you can. Generate maps? What? Oh shit. I think I fucked up. I think it's gonna crash. Not responding. What have I done? Well, luckily we saved. Luckily we saved. Let's oh shit, it came back. Oh shit, I guess this is like baking stuff. Baking is oh shit, that's like really hard to explain to people that never did 3D or something. You kind of get the details of the high poly that we just did onto the low poly. The details are just there. Let's just keep it that way. They're just there. Right, so now I have to cover this, and I have to strap this to the left. But first I need to get those crevices nice and tight, because change in height in topology is super good to see. Just like with the ass, just a tiny bit of more vertices, edges makes a huge difference. Hakan, I really enjoy your streams, but I don't think your politics are acceptable if you were worried about triggering people, so I won't be watching anymore. Best of luck. Thanks, man. The best of luck to you. So the smaller the polygons, the more detailed the spot is. No, 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 definitely not. Nope, nope. Oh shit, you mean texture-wise? No, but um, texture-wise, no, but it, yeah, I guess you could say how the smaller the polygons, the more detailed your model is. But no, only topology-wise, not texture-wise. The chosen one, yeah. I'm also having my doubt. Like, are you triggered, or is it just like a joke that's way too late? Yeah, topology-wise, it's definitely more detailed. But yeah, you kind of have to, yeah, like have to make compromises of where you want to personally influence the detail with topology, and where you can just let it all go into the bake. It's like a tough spot here, over here. Hmm. Hmm. So we have a lack of vertices going that way, but we have too much going that way. How can we help this? I think I know. Yeah, boy, we got him. That was pretty satisfying, actually. Not gonna lie. I'm not sure how people get offended on the internet. I really don't get it. Because I think, like, me being a Muslim, I think I'm the one that should get super offended all the time. But I don't. I like never get offended on the internet. This doesn't bother me. Do you like pork? Yeah, man. No, I don't like. I've never eaten pork. Does it offend you that I'm atheist? Not one tiny bit. All my Dutch friends are atheists, and they all know that I'm Muslim, and they all know that I don't drink, and they still like me. They still do stuff with me. Ryuv, my Muslim friends eat pork with me. He's probably not Muslim then. Well, that's the thing. You being Muslim is between you and God and not anyone else. And that's like the whole problem with ideologies. Other people that like shove it down other people's throats. It's an ideology. I mean, we can all pretend that we know what we're all thinking, but you actually never know what people are thinking. Is there a reason for the triangle on the right? Which, oh, this one. Yeah, because on the high poly, it's a perfect triangle right here. So just get a triangle there to match the shape better. Alright, so the newcomers. What I'm doing now is I'm drawing new topology on top of my high poly, which is shown here. This is the guy we sculpted over the last 2 weeks, but this can't go into the game because, as you can see, like all these squares here are the same squares that I'm drawing over here. But like putting all these squares into a game will make the game engine render all these squares at once in one frame. So it has to calculate like the light that it reflects on, just everything that happens with this model. It has to calculate, and every time it calculates, it has to calculate all these polygons one by one. And I'm sure you can imagine how difficult it will be for your computer. So what I'm doing right now is I'm lowering the amount of polygons that it has to calculate. So it'll save you some frames. It'll give you like not 3 FPS but more. It's kind of like the reason we retopologize. Hi Hakan, are you working with the Skywind as well? No, I'm not working with Skywind. Is he almost done? I think we've passed the 50%, but I wouldn't say that he's almost done. I mean, character creation is something really tedious and takes a lot of time. If you want to do it well. Let's relax that part again. Touch his ass a tiny bit. like that. All right, now we can continue. Hey, what region do you think the Elder Scrolls 6 will take place in? What region? I hope it's elsewhere because it has all the jungles and desert, so I think there's a lot of creative room for the whole team. Alright, I'm gonna add some line here to follow the ribcage, the lower part of his ribcage. Like that. So now we can see that his ribcage is going like that. If I were to like put these there, and you would just see this square line, but now because of this, you can actually see the curvature going like that on the low poly. Yeah, I want it to be elsewhere because it's tough for them. I want to see if they can actually provide. I like to think studios do things because it's harder, not because it's easy monies. Oh shit, I am really dreading this whole armpit. Fuck. So right now we have 1,419 faces, which is acceptable. Which is very acceptable. So now, right now, I'm gonna create something like a border edge. Like, alright, this is where you have to stop with all this crazy topology and have to reduce it to this much. Because if we make everything go berserk, then it'll be too high. Like, this is pretty dense, but it doesn't have to be super dense everywhere. Just where it's the most interesting. Good. There we go, guys. Another one. And another one. Okay, I think it's in there. Like, do you guys get my problem here? I should say another one for every single vertex that I'm placing. That would be some great ASMR. 10-hour version, Hakan doing retopology while saying another one for every vertex he places. Gone sexual. That would be a great video. Do you know Kyle IRL, Hakan? No, I don't. I don't know him IRL. Don't even know where he lives. Oh shit, to get back on what my favorite Turkish food is, I think it's sucuk. Turkish sausage. Sucuk for life. Definitely, now that I think of it. I think I can actually smell it now. Okay, so now we face the problem again of having too many polygons over here. I need to redirect them somewhere else. What's the process of for making characters? Like, do you make a model and then someone thinks up a quest random, or someone comes up with a storyline and then you make a character? All right. So to summarize, the whole process of making a character and even deciding if one gets made is the writer writes something. For instance, the gatekeeper has a love for his wife, the gatekeeperess, and so they do this and that, and they come across this one guy that sells this and that, and they have to escape together. Well, with the ferryman. So what happens is, because the gatekeeper is like the guy that's the most important piece of this whole story that we just told, he will get all the attention at first. He will decide how the other characters look, how the ferryman, how the gatekeeperess looks, how the other guys look. So what'll happen is all the concept artists will draw a lot of pictures. I mean, a lot of pictures, like hundreds of images of him, and then the art director can pick which one he likes the most, and so that one gets worked on a lot more. And so when they finally have a design, the other characters now get drawn, because they kind of know how every character in game should look like. I mean, no, there's no game where all the characters look a lot super different. So what happens is, because they know how the gatekeeper, the main character, looks like, they can focus on the other guys. And while the gatekeeper is being made in 3D because he already has the designs, the other guys also get designed, and when that design is also done, the other people get made. So that's kind of like, in a perfect world, that's kind of like the way you want it to go. But because we don't have a lot of concept artists, no one could draw a perfect gatekeeper for me. So that's why I'm doing this all out of my head. I'm not sure if that was well spoken, but I think that's pretty decent explanation of how big companies do it. Yeah, so again here we can see a lot of depressions where like topology really helps make it look super great. Not so flat like his legs are looking right now, but some changes in elevation can really make this guy pop out. Of course, everything that I'm telling now it isn't factual, just how I do it and how I like to do it and how I think it's effective for what I'm doing now. Just my workflow. We have this rogue vertex going there. I think I'm gonna give him passage along these edges like that. Bam. Will you need to do the topology on the flat part of the arms, even if they're going to be hidden by the? This isn't some. I'm presuming you mean this part. I'm not gonna touch that part, mainly because, well, yeah, as you said, it's always gonna be hidden. And if it isn't hidden, it should probably be hidden because there's nothing interesting going on here. Just flat. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to join the Twitch if you have any answers. There is a link in the description leading you to the Twitch chat if you're wondering how to connect. The reason being, I'm not really looking at YouTube chat because it can get very hectic. And I'm actually lowering the amount of polygons here is in his arms because this part won't get a lot of movements. But I still do want it to have like good detail, so I'll keep in mind of the elevations and depressions. If you're wondering why I'm not doing these all quads, well, because this is a pimple, and the pimple won't see a lot of action in terms of animation, so I can just kind of like neglect it. Yeah, the shitty part is coming up now. Working around his arm. If I could hide his arm, it would be like a million times easier, but unfortunately, I don't think I can. Right, I think we're almost out of it. To be honest, the Gatekeeper looks like the creepiest things I've ever seen. This Gatekeeper or Gatekeeper in general? Do you ever plan to Jigala and the Knights of Order, or will someone else do those? I'm hoping someone else will do those, because if there is someone else that can do those, there's also someone else that can do other creatures, which will save me a lot of time. Finally, now we have topology there. Now we can relax, literally relax. like that. Yes. Are you the lead modeler, or who else does the 3D modeling? I'm the lead for the armor and creature modeling. There is this other guy who sometimes streams. He's called Gandalf, or the White Wizard, and he does a lot of technical creature stuff, I think. I might be wrong on that. And he's the lead technical guy for the creatures. Yeah. It's Ares Harn. Yeah, Ares Harn. If you haven't used it before, I highly recommend trying the newest version of Blender. They have completely redesigned it. They have a lot of tools at quality of life for retopologized models now. I don't use Blender. It's I don't know. I don't. No one. Well, apart from a few people. But if you want to do creatures and stuff, I think you have to use one of the professional programs. I'm not saying that Blender isn't professional, but like one of the programs. Like Max or Maya, because I actually don't know why. I'll probably never use Blender for that reason. Is this the only channel that streams Skyblivion? Yeah, this is the only channel. This channel is from Kyle, and he's the head of Skyblivion. He's the CEO. And this is his channel, so he streams it. So now we're kind of getting into the most deformed part of his body. After I fix this part of his body. Alright, we have the second fucking arm with the second fucking armpit. That sucks balls. Guess I just have to suck it up and do it. I'm actually hoping to finish this within the hour. Let's make some fast ground. Are you going to work on the textures as well, or someone else will? I'm also going to work on the textures. What's the result? What's the purpose of the relaxed brush? Wouldn't the hand-placed vertices make a better result? Well, depends. For instance, these vertices over here are precisely placed to follow the curvature of his spine. So relaxing this would be stupid because it'll just ruin my carefully placed vertices and it won't go off the spine as well. But if we have a flat surface like this, I mean, if I place it like that, it's just ugly. Well, using the relax brush here is very useful because it saves me a lot of time and makes these polygons look very smooth and very well done without me touching them manually. So yes, using the relax brush everywhere will give worse results, but using it wisely will save you a lot of time. So the people working on this are volunteers. Does that mean they don't get paid? No, we don't get paid. I mainly do this just because, well, it's fun. I like working in groups. Working alone is okay, but like working in a studio is for me like the best experience. But yeah, having people to talk with and ask feedback from is really underappreciated. I wish we did get paid, lol, but it would be illegal, I think. No, I don't see why it would be illegal. You're hiring a particular set of skills for a particular set of time for a particular project. It's just freelancing. Right, there we go again. Into the dark. Oh, of course, yeah. We're using Bethesda's tools. Maybe Bethesda should be hiring the Skyblivion team for test sticks. I don't think that would be a great idea, man. Making a game as big as Oblivion or Skyrim is too much work for people that aren't used to all of this. I mean, the guys that they have there working on creatures are so much better than everyone that works on this team. If we were to work on the Elder Scrolls 6, chances are we would have to rush the game at some point, and it wouldn't turn out as detailed as Skyblivion. Well, alright, so chances are the Elder Scrolls 6 will run on a different engine, and working on a game is unfortunately not only making models. It's also game design, it's also level design, it's also quest design, it's also sometimes making a game engine or changing the game engine. Also sound design, it's also QA, just a lot of things, and I don't think that this team that we have right now is up for the challenge. I'm 99% certain of that. Making a game as big as Skyrim is just too much work for this team. All we're doing now is just changing the models and doing some stuff that they already did for us. Yeah, deadlines are a bitch. Even when Skyblivion gets released finally, yeah, it probably won't be a perfect game because although Skyblivion doesn't have a deadline, it kind of does have a deadline because we wouldn't want to release this when this game is like super old. It's like releasing a Half-Life mod when games are already looking um, like The Witcher 3 or something. Skyrim VR. Hmm. I think if they spent the time making Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim VR, and just Skyrim, yeah, those two, and if they focus on maybe like Skyrim co-op, they'd have a much bigger and more loving fan base. Because co-op, in my opinion, makes games double the better, exponentially better. Yeah, Skyrim VR is confirmed. Right, let's go. 45 minutes left. Quickly finish this faggot. Yeah, this is the low poly mesh. Alright, his arms, both his arms are retopologized. Now his torso. And when his torso is done, then we're done with the low poly. I mean, after this, I'm guessing it's 2 more weeks until this guy's totally finished and done. Not too bad, not too bad. Happy with that time period. So we're on 4,000 triangles now. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. What program is this? This program is Topogun. Up here, there's a name. It's called Topogun. I was so focused on how what a pain in the ass the armpits would be that I forgot how shitty doing this the rib cage is gonna be. Is making a creature similar to making, for example, a house. Yeah, just making a creature is different, but the methods you'd use is the same. Although you'll probably make a low poly house first because it's more blocky than a creature. But yeah, everything else should be the same. Alright, those are 3 rib cages done in about 10 minutes. Holy shit. Even if I don't get this topology finished today, I'll make sure it's finished um, when the next stream starts. Speaking of next streams, I don't because I'll be away for the starting next week on Saturday. I'll be away for 3 weeks, so this stream is probably the last for a while now. When will next stream be? Probably in about 5 weeks, because I'm going on vacation next Saturday. I won't be able to stream. Real talk, have you seen Blender's EV renderer yet? No, I've never even opened Blender. Oh, finally, after 3 hours of Topology, there's this one patch left. Let me quickly fish out. You're right, save it. I saved it. And the last piece, another one. Some final pieces to fix over here. All right. After 3 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes or something, we finally have this guy done. Please apologize. Not done. Guys, for people that are just joining, I basically placed all these points by myself. And I still don't have carpal tunnel. I did clone a leg, yes. I did clone a leg. Let's see how this looks in Maya. Just happy that this guy is done with the topology. Here he is. Well, probably right now I'll just like look around, see what looks flat, what looks flat. For instance, that edge. Add one more. This edge. Add one more. And then go back to this guy. Clear the scene. Record it again. Do you need to do topology for his armor, weapons, or is someone else doing that? I'm also doing that. But that's a lot easier than topology for organic stuff. Now the topology that we added here, I'm gonna get relaxed a tiny bit, just to make it look more natural around the other ones. Just like that. Right, now before I'm leaving, oh shit, no, I can't do that. Oh wait, yes, I can. Before I'm leaving, I'm gonna quickly bake this guy to show you guys what I meant with baking. And the shitty part of this program is if I want to save this, I have to find my fucking scene again. Fucking stupid is that? Alright, so this is the guy in ZBrush. Quickly fucking unwrap this guy. Good enough. Put this again here. I can open my bake program. Here it is. Here are all these meshes. Oh, of course, we have to export the high poly. Put this. Okay, now we have the Gatekeeper. High poly goes in there. The low poly goes in here. We're gonna make an Animate Occlusion and normal map in 4K. But first we need a cage. Don't mind this, this is just some 3D magic. Right, good enough for a cage, just to showcase. Okay, now we have this. Let's add the cage. Generate maps. While this is generating, I'll just open my preview program, which is Marmoset Toolbag. This is the bake, alright. Looking cool. Now let's import Gatekeeper. Alright, so this is our Gatekeeper. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Alright, well actually I have to export it from Maya because smoothing's all wrong. It fucked my ears. Probably also fucked your ears. Alright, so here it is. Smooth it out. So now this is all uniform. Change the scene. Something more bright. Yeah, this will be good. So now we have to be baked. It's still baking. X-Normal is baking the stuff. Baking probably nukes his CPU. Let's see, man. Yeah, it nukes my CPU. So are you taking into account animation deformation when you're retopologizing, or is that something you're going to come back to when it's rigged? Well, you can't come back if it's rigged because it's rigged onto the vertices, and if I come and change the vertices, then the rig doesn't work anymore. Yeah, the bake is almost done, and it's done. Okay. Okay, so now we have the bakes, and I will show you guys the power of baking. If I can find a. Alright, so feature production. I wanna actually like show you guys the magic instead of slowly. That's the normal. The color. Oh shit. The bake wasn't finished and I ended it prematurely. Well, we have to rebake it, guys. Going back into the matrix. Yes. All right, guys, it's at about 25%, 75% to go. I'm not sure if the stream froze. It might have, it could freeze, since it shouldn't freeze. The stream is only using 5% of my CPU, while Xnormal uses the rest. Guys, if you're on YouTube, come to Twitch. I can answer questions on Twitch. I can't answer questions on YouTube. You have powerful gear like Xeon processors. I made my own PC with wood and fiber and tree sap. I have a steam engine in my PC that's doing the whole thing. I'm not sure what my specs are. I think I have a 1070 GTX NVIDIA i7 6700 or something, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm not sure what my motherboard is. Hold on, guys. It's almost done. We're almost out of the matrix. Right, the bake is done, and now I'm not going to prematurely finish it. I'm gonna let us do it. All the savings. Right, now it's done. Want to make sure you guys are back with me. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait till the stream is up to date, so I know what you guys can see and what you guys can't see. All right, looks like the stream's back. So what I just did, I baked a normal map and a ambient occlusion map. Now first I'm gonna show you what a normal map does, and then I'm gonna show you what a ambient occlusion map does, and then I'm gonna show you what they both do together. That's cool. Alright, so an ambient occlusion map is basically a texture map that applies subtle shadows onto the model. For instance, these are all the detail that got baked from the model. I turn the glossiness down a bit, lighting. Let me just create my own lighting. So yeah, this is what an Animate Occlusion Map does. I basically bake the small amounts of shadow onto the model. And this is what a normal map does. This actually makes the whole model look like it's the high poly model, which is it isn't. It's still the low poly model. If I like show the wireframe, you can actually see that it's still low poly, but you can see the detail of the high poly. And now a combination between these two is actually what we're going for, which is something like this. So as you can see now, we have this model with the detail on it, but it's ready to go into the game. This is the reason why we made the high poly and then retopologized it and then did all these other fancy things. Now the cool stuff of this because of this program is I can actually like add something like a skin shade to this guy. Which means that if I let's actually clear this. The ambient occlusion has its own spot here. Let's just use that. Right, so using this, I can change the color of this. For instance, like this. And playing with the specular depth and stuff. And translucency and all that kind of good stuff. I can actually create a scene that gives this kind of clayish looking thing. And if I get a really strong light in his face, an omni light with a brightness setting really high, you can see that it's like going through his skin and stuff. But yeah, this is only like 2 texture maps. I mean, come on, I'm gonna texture the shit out of this guy anyway. So as you can see, the normal map makes the light follow. I mean, the detail follow the light, and actually propelled with shadows. But this is why we were doing this, guys. Just all for this kind of results. This is why we do stuff. I mean, look at his back. I mean, look at the detail. I mean, like, come on. This is great stuff. Like from up here. Holy shit. And to also like this is low poly. And here you can actually see like the reason why I put this whole spine line following that. Because now you get this great curvature following stuff. Also here again following the curvature, here again following the curvature, following the curvature. Like every single thing is placed very carefully to follow the curvature. This is why I do all this stuff, to get this eventual detail. I mean, the unwrap still sucks, but yeah, this is kind of like I'm actually gonna make a render for the thumbnail of this video for when it's on YouTube. And let me just quickly set up this whole lighting environment. I'm looking for something very particular, probably a 3D. Oh, oh yeah, here it is. Alright, so the thing is with lighting, it's also an art in itself. Let's create a great rim light first. Rim light coming from the back. Like this. And then something from the front. Up. And also we need something from the front, but not as shiny as one from the back. Maybe even some fog, because fuck it. Yeah, there was just a quick test bake. I simply used the unwrap from ZBrush. This isn't the final bake. There's also, yeah, a lot of other maps are going to get baked, not only a what do you call it? Normal and ambient occlusion. Like this and get all these things on. Now if you look at the final render, if I can find him, he's somewhere over here. I can't find the render stuff for some reason. But yeah, the render is just the same as this one. Yeah, this was the stream, guys. We did a lot of work today. Topology mostly, and now the bake preview. So yeah, this is kind of like why we did all the stuff before we finally retopologized. It's all for this. All for this. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can join the Skyblivion, what do you call it, community chat on Discord, and there probably you can find my name and PM me if you have any questions. Yeah, you can follow me on ArtStation if you're interested. I'll link my ArtStation here. Wait, did Hakan ever add the stitch? No, this isn't the final. These aren't the final bakes. These aren't the final bakes. So yeah, guys, I'll be going now. Hope you have a great day. Oh shit, yeah. If you have any questions, message me on Discord. You can